The story begins in Paris, where we see a man named James Reese, who was the personal assistant to the American ambassador Bennington. While James was taking Bennington to the embassy, he saw that he had a meeting with the French foreign minister today. Also, the two of them were playing a game of chess. In the middle of this game, James received an urgent call containing some secret codes. It is then revealed that James is secretly working as a CIA undercover agent. Anyway, James quickly defeated Bennington in chess and set out to fulfill his secret responsibilities. In a short while, he reached an underground parking garage. There, he looked at his gun for a few moments and thought about when he would finally get a chance to use it. Then, according to his mission, he changed the license plate of a nearby BMW car and hid a short distance away to keep an eye on the vehicle. Soon, 3 men sat in that car and left, and with this, the mission given to James was completed. Later, when James was going back to his home, his handler praised him. But James's mind was still restless. He said, "I want to do something big. Why do you keep giving me these small tasks, brother?" But his handler said, "You are not ready for big challenges yet." Anyway, then he was given another task. During the meeting with the foreign minister, he had to plant a chip in his office. On this, James asked, "Where is the chip?" The handler said, "We have already put it in your pocket." James was surprised to see this. When did that happen? Now James was staring closely at the chip when suddenly someone knocked on his door. It was his girlfriend, Caroline, who kissed James and asked about his day. Well, James's job is such that he cannot tell the truth, so he diverted the talk. The next day, James's task became quite easy because he was called inside the office during the meeting. While the meeting was going on, James quietly tried to stick the chip onto the table with the help of his chewing gum. But the chewing gum did not stick to the table at all. He got his next chance when everyone cleared the room after the meeting ended. Seeing the opportunity, James quickly stapled the chip under the table and left. But as soon as James returned home, his eyes were wide open in shock. The door to his room was open, and a few drops of blood were dripping. He picked up a broom to fight and stepped inside carefully. Then his eyes fell on Caroline, who was standing on the balcony. Caroline laughed and said, "What you think is blood is actually sauce. I have made your favorite food today." Hearing this, James breathed a sigh of relief. Caroline said, "I have a special gift for you." But at that same moment, James suddenly received a call from his handler. He praised James's work and said, "For the next mission, you have to go to the airport immediately. We have another agent, Charlie Wax. He is in dire need of a driver right now, and if you complete this, you might get a promotion." Hearing this, James was filled with new enthusiasm. Now he turned to open Caroline's gift. Upon opening the gift, he found a ring that once belonged to Caroline's father. Putting the ring on him, she took a promise that he would never take it off. Meanwhile, as soon as James reached the airport, he saw that CIA agent Charlie was very angry because the customs officers were stopping him from taking his energy drinks. Charlie started shouting, saying, "During the World War, the Germans had torn you apart. We saved you. Do you remember anything, you ungrateful humans?" Seeing the situation worsening, James stepped in and tried to calm Charlie down. Now time was a bit short, so Charlie calmed down and said, "I have to reach a specific Chinese restaurant at any cost, and if you can't do this job, send someone capable." Now, to leave from there, James stuck a diplomatic sticker on Charlie's bag. After that, the customs officers let them go. Then, sitting in the car, James began to wonder why Charlie was so obsessed with these energy drink bottles when they would be easily available in any supermarket. Then Charlie said, "There is no drink inside these cans. My gun parts are hidden, and all this drama at the airport was just a diversionary tactic so that no one would get suspicious and open them." After this, both reached a Chinese restaurant where Charlie ordered his favorite dish with great enthusiasm. On this, James said, "This dish is not from China at all. Actually, an American chef created it." Charlie did not believe this at all. He called the waiter, "This dish is Chinese, right?" On this, the waiter started saying, "Brother, I am from Nepal, I don't know." Charlie got so angry at this that he took out his gun. Seeing this, the other workers in the restaurant also took out their guns, and suddenly a rain of bullets started there. Poor James started hiding here and there to save his life. In the midst of this chaos, Charlie, showing his tremendous fighting skills, started taking down the gangsters one after another. Then he angrily asked, "Where are the drugs?" But the waiter was not ready to speak a single word. Now Charlie fired several shots towards the ceiling, and now a rain of white powder started from the ceiling. He told James to collect a sample of this powder inside a vase. After this, both took the car to the rear part of the building and started waiting. After some time, they saw the same waiter running out, so both started chasing him. At that time, James asked, "Will this sample serve as evidence later?" "On this," Charlie said. "This is not evidence, but a very important thing for our next step." Then Charlie explained his real mission to him. Actually, they have to eradicate this entire business from the roots, because a girl named Charlotte died due to an overdose because of it. At first, James thought that this girl named Charlotte must be someone related to Charlie, and this man was settling a personal grudge. But then it turned out that Charlotte was the niece of the Secretary of Defense, and now he is bent on ending this entire drug trafficking ring. Both of them reached a deserted alley while chasing the waiter, where he suddenly disappeared into a building. Then Charlie stopped the car on the side and started taking out weapons from a secure box. But at the same time, the gangsters of that area came in front of them and started a fight. James said, "Let's get out of here." But Charlie said, "Have some faith in your brother, man. If anything happens, I'll see to it." Just then, a gangster pointed a knife at Charlie. But in the next moment, Charlie attacked with lightning speed and knocked all those men to the ground. After this, both climbed the fire escape and entered through an open door. Then Charlie prepared his gun and told James, "You stay right here." In a short while, bodies started falling from the stairs. Seeing this sight, James also started climbing up, where he found more fallen enemies. And finally, he met Charlie again. Now both reached a room where small children were dancing in front of people. Now, without creating a scene, they pointed a gun at a man and said, "If you don't tell the name of the drug supplier, I will call the entire CIA force here." At that time, this man wrote a name on a paper and handed it over to them. But as soon as they moved the gun away, that man called all his thugs. In this chaos, James and Charlie escaped from there and hid in a room where mannequins were standing everywhere. But here too, the enemy gunfire started, so they retaliated and then quickly hid in a spot. There, Charlie sat on the floor waiting for the enemies and shot them down with great aim as they arrived. As the last gangster was about to reach them and Charlie's gun ran out of bullets, at that same moment, James gave his pistol to Charlie. With it, Charlie finished the threat in an instant. After this, James called his handler and said that today's mission was very intense. But at the same time, he was worried about Charlie because he is a bit of a crazy type of man. He acts first and thinks later, and he currently has a vase full of drugs. The handler said, "Don't worry too much. Just stay with Charlie. He will handle everything." The next day, James saw that Charlie was using the gathered white powder. Charlie explained to him that it is just to calm the mind. He told James, "You also taste a little so you can blend into the environment easily." James refused at first, but then Charlie said, "You do one thing, go back to the office. You are made for that job." Hearing this, James felt compelled. He said, "Brother, I have never done this. What if I also drop dead like the defense secretary's niece?" On this, Charlie revealed a shocking truth. He said, "There is no niece of the defense secretary." Then Charlie stated in clear words that their mission is actually to reach some terrorists. Anyway, then, a little while later, both reached an alley where some men were guarding outside a building. Charlie told James, "Go to them acting like a junkie and say that we need some women." Seeing James's condition and the drugs they had, one of those men sent a woman who took both of them inside with her. Just as they stepped into the lift, suddenly, just before the doors closed, they saw that Caroline was also present in this building. The thought of what Caroline would think seeing him here made James panic. But Charlie said, "The real question is, what is your girl doing here?" In the next moment, Charlie forced his way into a room and told the client and the girls present with him to leave. Meanwhile, James also took out his gun and snatched the man's phone charger because his brother's phone battery was low. Seeing this, Charlie also became happy, saying, "Wow, the chicken has come out of the egg." After this, Charlie gave James binoculars and told him to keep an eye on a nearby bank. James was trying to explain the whole thing to Caroline on the phone when his eyes fell on two Pakistani men who were entering the bank. Suddenly, loud screaming started coming from the direction of the door, and when James went to see, the owner of the building suddenly attacked them. Charlie was watching all this calmly. James got beaten for a while, but then Charlie intervened and shot both attackers dead right there. Without wasting time, both again started chasing the two Pakistani men who had now come out of the bank and sat in a van. Charlie sent a signal from his watch so that the vehicle could be tracked. Now the van took them to a dilapidated area of the city, where some gangsters were guarding outside a building. James and Charlie started showing money while pretending to be customers buying drugs. Then one of those men took them inside and told them, "Stay here, I'll bring my boss." But upon reaching inside, they faced some young gangsters who held them at gunpoint and told them to sit on their knees. They said, "Hand over all your belongings to us." This included James's ring that Caroline had gifted him. Then the gang leader, Rashid, came there and, taking possession of James's ring, said, "In exchange, I can give 1 gram of stuff." But Charlie fearlessly demanded 1 kilogram. Now seeing these people, Rashid became a little suspicious. Then he took out his gun. But Charlie, in an instant, pointed his own gun back at him, making the atmosphere even more tense. James immediately pointed out that keeping more than 1 kilogram of drugs could lead to more than 15 years in prison. This gave him an idea, and he smashed that vase full of drugs on the floor, causing the thugs to run here and there in panic. And taking advantage of this chaos, James faced Rashid. He asked for his ring back from Rashid and then took it while beating him up. They pressured Rashid to take them to the upper flat where some terrorists were present. Then both forced their way into an elderly man's house and assured him that, "We have no bad intentions." The surprising thing was that without panicking, the old man started saying, "Will you have tea now?" Meanwhile, Charlie looked at the room below with the help of a special camera. There he saw that some men were packing their belongings in panic. Then Charlie made a plan and prepared to climb down towards the window. Then he gave an earpiece to James and said, "Go down, and if anyone tries to escape, kill them." After this, Charlie himself broke through the window with lightning speed and knocked down 3 men in an instant. But in the next moment, due to heavy gunfire, he himself fell to the floor. As James was about to step towards the door and enter, Charlie realized that there were bombs on the door. But ignoring the coming danger, he started moving forward, putting pressure on the men inside, and even succeeded in killing some. But some people started fleeing through the ground route. Seeing this, James immediately ran towards the floor below. When he tried to catch one of them, that man was killed before he could surrender. Charlie praised James's effort, but soon he found out that some men had escaped and a car had arrived outside to pick them up. He knew they didn't have time to reach the car. Therefore, Charlie prepared an explosive jacket kept on a nearby table, and as the fleeing men reached the car, he dropped the jacket from above. This caused a massive explosion, and along with the car, all the terrorists were also blown away. After the blast, before the police could arrive, Charlie collected the evidence scattered throughout the apartment. Meanwhile, when James saw his blood-stained body in the mirror, he began to clean himself. Then his eyes fell on a wall where his own picture was pasted. This made one thing clear. He was stuck in this game much deeper than he thought. Suddenly, they heard the sound of the police coming from the 10th floor, so James said they should immediately warn the police because this door will explode as soon as it opens. But Charlie grabbed him and stopped him. "If you go, they will kill you thinking you are a terrorist." Despite James's best efforts, it was not possible to save the policeman because the door suddenly exploded, and everyone died in that blast. After this, Charlie and James fled from the building and hijacked a police car. Then in the car, James said that so much evidence and fingerprints had been left behind. "Soon the police will reach us," but Charlie cut him off in the middle and suddenly turned the car back and hit their first getaway car hard, which immediately blew up with an explosion because of Charlie's prior preparation. After this, both reached a special place where 2 CIA agents were already waiting for them. Charlie praised James's work that day and handed over the collected evidence to them, receiving a brown paper bag in exchange. At first, James thought that Charlie was handing him a very important part of the mission, but when he opened the bag, there were 2 sandwiches inside. Soon, James received a message from Caroline, who had invited him for dinner. On this, James asked Charlie to come along as well, because Caroline's friend Nicole was also going to be there. Then during dinner, Charlie received a phone call. He turned up the music a bit so that he could hide his conversation from everyone else. There was laughter and jokes going on at dinner, where Charlie mentioned that they had recently finished a terrorist network, but at the same time he also said that more people might still be left. Suddenly Nicole received a call and picking it up, she only said, "No, Rose is not here." Hearing this, Charlie became dead serious. He picked up his gun and shot Nicole straight away. Then the truth was revealed. Rose was a code word connected to that network they were tracking. Also, he had found a contact named Nicole in many terrorists' phones. Hearing all this, James felt that Charlie had gone mad. But Charlie stuck to his point. He even pulled out a hidden tracker and showed it. Charlie believed that Caroline was also involved with them. But to convince James, Charlie said, "Check the ring she gave." As soon as the ring was brought near the radio, there was some disturbance in the signal. This made it clear that a tracker was placed inside the ring. Now James started asking Caroline what all this meant, but Caroline suddenly shot him in the arm and escaped through the window. At that same moment, Charlie ran after her and started chasing her across the rooftops at high speed. But Caroline had cleverly reached the bottom already, where a car was waiting for her. Charlie could only catch a glimpse of the license plate, and in the next moment, Caroline disappeared into the darkness of the night. Later, James received a call from Caroline in which she apologized for shooting him. But before he could understand anything else, Caroline hung up. On the other hand, we see that Caroline stopped near the car and was waiting for a man in white clothes. Meanwhile, Charlie carefully listened to the recording of James and her conversation and tried to identify every small sound so that her location could be found. Suddenly, James received a call from Bennington. He was very angry right now because James did not reach the airport to welcome the American delegation. At that moment, Charlie's mind clicked. He said, "It's possible these terrorists are planning to attack the US delegation itself." James said, "Think about this a bit properly first." But Charlie immediately set out with another CIA agent. Meanwhile, James still didn't understand why, if the target of these terrorists was the US delegation, they had placed trackers in his house. His mind kept saying that it was something else. As Charlie and the CIA agents were getting closer to the delegation, Charlie spotted the same car that had fled with Caroline. The driver started speeding the car as soon as he saw them, and now a game of cat and mouse began on the highway. Charlie was unable to get close to them, so he started asking for weapons, upon which an agent showed him a grenade launcher. Here, James was looking for clues inside his house. Suddenly, he found a sketch that increased his panic even more. On the other side, Charlie was about to take aim when suddenly a call came from James. There was a tremor in his voice. He stated that Caroline is not in the car at all. She is going to enter this summit in disguise, pretending to be from the American delegation. But Charlie claimed, "I can see Caroline inside the car." On this, James warned him that this could be a trick, brother. Finally, when Charlie got very close to the car, he found that only a mannequin was sitting in the front seat. Hearing this, James immediately set out towards the summit. With the intention of averting the terrorist threat, Charlie also tried to get the American convoy's route changed. But no one listened to his warning. Meanwhile, he was not getting a clear shot at the terrorist's car either. Therefore, he told the agent to speed the car towards the flyover built above. Meanwhile, the driver of the car was preparing explosives inside his vehicle and was now moving at full speed towards that US convoy. But Charlie reached the bridge at exactly the right moment and set his aim with a very calm mind. His rocket hit the exact spot, the car blasted, and the American convoy passed safely. At that time, people from all over the world were gathering for the summit. James also reached there and immediately received a call from Charlie. Charlie told him to stay alert and said that Caroline might be wearing a bomb jacket. Despite this terrifying news, James kept the hope alive in his heart that he could stop Caroline's intentions by convincing her. But soon he found out that his diplomatic pass had already been used. He tried to explain that some imposter has entered with my card, but still, security started taking him outside. Then Bennington stepped in and said, "Let him inside. He is with me." Now, just as James was thinking of moving forward, his gun was caught in the metal detector, and the guards grabbed him again. Seeing the situation getting out of hand, James told Bennington to close this summit as soon as possible. He stated that someone among us is wearing a bomb, but Bennington had great faith in his security. He said, "You couldn't enter with a gun. Who would enter with a bomb?" Finally, in despair, James said, "This bomber is none other than my fiancée." James told Bennington, "Please trust me." After hearing this much, Bennington took James's gun and allowed him to go into the building. Then, as ministers from all over the world were entering, James's eyes fell on a woman who was wearing the exact same dress whose sketch he had found in his house. But she disappeared into the crowd of other people in an instant. Now, seeing time slipping away, James snatched a weapon from a nearby agent without a second thought, which caused chaos throughout the hall. In the midst of this commotion, James identified Caroline by seeing her heels and blocked her path at gunpoint. Now Caroline didn't have a chance to escape, so she showed the bomb tied to her body. James, becoming restless, kept telling her repeatedly to surrender. He assured Caroline, "I can find a way to save you." But it was having no effect on Caroline. Still, James tried to convince Caroline that we can get out of this together. I love you immensely. Don't do this." For a moment, it seemed as if Caroline understood his words, but when Caroline didn't agree, James was forced to shoot her in the head. James had saved everyone else present there, but his heart had been shattered into thousands of pieces. He truly loved Caroline very much, but for his country, he sacrificed his love.